Uh-oh, folks, cat's out of the bag. Cigarettes are absolutely terrible for you. Still, more than 42 million people in the US alone can't seem to kick the nicotine habit. Some of you smokers out there think you're taking the easier route than quitting by switching to e-cigarettes. Well, are they actually any safer? First, let's do a little breakdown on the chemical anatomy of cigarettes. When you light one of those suckers up, you're looking for that buzz you get from the nicotine. But it isn't just the nicotine that's going into your body. Estimates show that there are more than 7,300 chemical compounds in each puff you take, and 70 of them are known carcinogens, and there could be way more. Nicotine is a naturally occurring alkaloid compound, just like caffeine, and for the record, it's not carcinogenic. When it enters into your bloodstream, it works its way into your brain and mimics certain neurotransmitters, ultimately triggering the production of feel-good dopamine. When you quit smoking, the brain still craves it, triggering a bunch of really crappy withdrawal symptoms. To quell the blistering pain of withdrawal, some smokers use e-cigarettes to get their fix of nicotine, and supposedly without all the extra chemicals. E-cigarette manufacturers claim that they're a safe substitute for smoking real tobacco, but there still isn't enough chemical knowledge on both the manufacturing process and ingredients, and what's actually produced in the smoke to know for sure. The standard recipe for an electronic cigarette is a formula of either propylene glycol or glycerin solutions of nicotine mixed with a flavor additive. When using e-cigarettes, an atomizer heats up the mixture, creating a small cloud of particulate that's inhaled. While some refer to this as vapor or vaping, what you're actually smoking is an aerosol, basically particles suspended in air or gas. But aerosoling doesn't sound all that cool, and I think it's also a reasonable idea to consider if it's all that cool to look like you're playing a space instrument with that band in the cantina from Star Wars. Studying the aerosols of e-cigarettes is a challenge to scientists. There's a vast array of manufacturers out there, many using different processes to make their products, and there's also pretty limited data from studies on the subject because of how new these things are. However, one thing is certain. E-cig aerosols do contain some known carcinogenic compounds, but fewer than regular cigarettes and mostly in smaller amounts. For example, some research has shown that when e-cigarettes heat up the nicotine liquid, they can produce both formaldehyde and acetaldehyde aerosols. Both are known carcinogens. And while most of the flavor additives have been dubbed generally safe for consumption, that doesn't cover what happens when you inhale them, as some of these compounds can go through some serious chemical changes when heated up into aerosol form. So are e-cigs safer than cigarettes? To sum it up, science hasn't had the time to properly answer that question yet, but it's getting close. There is evidence suggesting that they have pretty negative health effects, and at the same time, they could be safer than smoking real cigarettes. But let me just emphasize could, because there is still tons of research going into the subject, and as of yet, there is no definitive conclusion that has been made.